first BASA Summersail circuit got underway in Cape Town at the beginning of December and ended in Durban on Wednesday. Cape Town's picturesque Bloberg Strand was the setting for the first three legs, starting with the Argus Light Bodies board sailing classic featuring the Slalom discipline. Then on to the Holiday Inn's Island Crossing, a 30-kilometre long-distance race in the icy waters of the Big Bay. The Gunston Surf Sailing International followed, in which the sailors' individual wave performance skills were put to the test. Durban's Vetches Pier was the venue for the White Horse Funboard Challenge, which completed the circuit. At Bloberg Strand, the red and white postponement flag tells the story of the wind, or rather the lack of it. The notorious Cape Doctor took a Christmas vacation, much to the dismay of the contest organisers and sailors alike. The international contingent included 29-year-old American Court Larned, currently number 5 in the world slalom rankings. Another American and number 2 seed in the world overall ratings, Ken Winner. David Perks hails from Weymouth in England, where he's held the national title for 4 successive years. Eric Mardetana lives in Linz, Austria. He is single, 24 years old, and currently in the top 20. 22-year-old Onno Tellier from Holland, currently number 10 overall in the world, and his younger brother Marco, who holds many European titles. Greg Aguirre from Clearwater, Florida, has been a competitive sailor for many years. Bjorn Schrader is noted for his slalom and wave performance technique and is currently number 8 in the world. And Klaus Walter from Munich, Bavaria, the 5th seed for the Summersail circuit. The top South African sailors were all there, led by Durban's Danny Sauvage, Gary van Rooyen and Cliffy Lemkes from the Western Province, and Murray Spears from Port Elizabeth. Dave Labasteur, one of the pioneers of surf sailing in the Cape, and Durban's Mike Lamont. Many former surfers have taken to competitive board sailing, and the competitors' car park looked like a battlefield with the latest state-of-the-art equipment on display. It looks as if anything goes where fins are concerned, although much development and design has gone into their manufacture. All the ingredients were there for a superb contest in perfect conditions. For sun tanning, that is, the wind just wasn't there. A volleyball court was erected and fun events organised to keep contestants occupied. 6 days went by with no wind. On the 7th, it arrived and volleyball was forgotten as rigs were made ready. At last, the Argus Light Bodies Board Sailing Classic got underway. 64 men and 16 ladies, 8 per heat, sailing for 12,500 rands in prize money, as well as points on the BASA Super Sailor Award for the overall winner of the circuit. The slalom discipline is sailed in a figure 8 between 2 buoys, approximately 800 meters apart, with the start and finish on the beach. A complicated double elimination ladder is used where the first 4 sailors in each heat go through to the next winner's round, and the last 4 sailors to the loser's round. This gives everyone a second chance of making it through to the final, but due to the lack of wind, there was only time to sail the winner's final. In the final were Greg Aguirre, Cliff Lemkes, Onno Tellier, Gary van Rooyen, Klaus Walter, Dave Perks, Court Larned, and Bjorn Schrader. From the Le Mans start to the finish, Bjorn Schrader led the field with Onno Tellier hot on his heels. Klaus Walter in 3rd spot as Court Larned falls while jibing the inside mark. Bjorn keeps his lead all the way and finishes flat out with Onno Tellier breathing down his neck. Californian Dan Mangus spoke to Bjorn after his win.
Well, the time didn't allow the double elimination, and it was a fair racing, so it was a good result. For sure, it's better for guys who missed start like Cam Winner. It's better double elimination, but I think it was a fair result.
Oh yeah, I think it was very fair. In the finals, you and Ono had a really good race. How did it feel out there? And let me have your viewpoint about that last final race.
Yeah, it was very exciting. I mean, Ono was going really fast. I had much better start than him, and he was coming really close. I got the last wave, so I had an advantage, and so I went through the line just in front of him. It was really exciting for me.
How do you like slalom compared to the other disciplines here? How does slalom compare, to the other ones for you?
Yeah, I'm same in cross racing and slalom. That's my favorite. I cannot train in the waves too much, so I do quite good in slalom and cross racing.
All right, you're doing very well. How do you think your chances are for the overall Super Sailor Award?
Yeah, I think it depends now on the holiday in island crossing, and we will see. It's very tough between the internationals for sure. I don't think the South African guys will be able to beat us because we have an advantage from the World Cup. So just depending on this event and then on the next ones, but I think it looks quite good.
So the slalom results were first Bjorn Schrader, followed by Ono Tellier, Klaus Walter and Kurt Larned. The next contest on the circuit was the 15,000 Rand Holiday Inn Island Crossing. This was a scheduled 30-kilometre crossing out to Robben Island and back. To do this, the contest director needed a southeasterly wind of at least 20 knots. This was not to be, and a new course up and down the coast was set.
We've got wind. We've been sitting on this beach for 10 days. Let's use the wind. The yachts indicate 20 knots steady at both marks. We've also just flown over the area. Looking at it now, it looks as though it's slightly increasing. Before we go at the start, the wind strength.
Sails were rigged.
Steady all the way. Very, very little swell. Just basically wind chop on the water.
Sails were rigged and safety equipment checked. Because of the dangerous nature of a long-distance event, standard safety equipment must be carried by all competitors. Contest officials scrutineer the equipment to ensure that this is complied with. The safety equipment included flares, a life jacket, radar reflector and a tow rope. Rubber duckies were on hand if rescue services became necessary. Tension mounts as the seconds tick by to the start, and over 100 sailors are off in a spectacular Le Mans-type start. The sailors are concentrating on getting a good position with clear wind, settling their feet into the straps and guiding their craft out through the rocks towards the northern mark. Kurt Larned, with the blue and pink sail, overtakes Marco Tellier to set the pace. Vincent Liebert from Belgium finds his groove. Ono Tellier keeps his board flat and sail rig back for optimum speed. Ken Winner is also up there. We asked Western Province sailor Dave Howe what equipment the long-distance sailor needs.
You need a board about 12 foot, preferably with a V underneath. You need a retractable centerboard, which is what I'm working on here at the moment. You need a large center fin. The retractable centerboard has got to come out as you're sailing. Works like that. As you put it back, it goes in, and this tape will close the hole, so you don't get any water drag on here. In the back you have a large fin for stability. You also need a V all the way down the middle of the board to part the water out, so as you're going forward the water shoots out to the side. You need a board with plenty of straps. The board's got to have a full set of straps all the way down to the tail. The front ones are used for beating, the back ones are used for a broad reach. Beating is sailing into wind, broad reaching is sailing with the wind. You have a sliding mast track, which you operate with your toe. When you push your toe in, you operate the mast goes forwards and backwards, and that's it on the board.
Back on the water, Ono Tellier is first around the northern mark, with Ken Winner second. Kort Larned is third and Bjorn Schrader fourth. The field is widely spread as Dave Perks reaches the mark. Klaus Walter, in sixth position, hooks into his harness and settles down for the long southern leg. Not everyone was as smooth as the leaders with their jibes. As the marker boat keeps an eye on the proceedings. Spectators on the beach saw Erno Tellier first through the rocks, followed by Ken Winner and David Perks. When these boards are planing, only a short section at the back is in the water. The rest rides clear with the sailor's feet in the foot straps to help him stay attached to the board. As Erno Tellier heads up into weather, he stands forward and more of the board is in the water. With Table Mountain in sight, the sailors head up towards the southern mark of Pardon Island. Greg Aguirre leads a group of sailors past the rocks of Bloberg Strand. The race leader, Erno Tellier, jibes around the southern mark and heads for home. While spectators on the beach eagerly await his arrival. In front of the tower, flags shape the funnel to the finish. Erno Tellier leaves the lead boat and makes for the beach with his board bouncing on the small chop. A final jibe on a small wave and then into the beach for the island crossing title. While Erno Tellier relaxes on the beach, most of the others are approaching the southern marker. England's David Perks finishes 4 minutes behind Erno Tellier, and we asked Erno what he thought of the race.
It was fun. It was the conditions were perfect. The wind was not too strong, not too low. Well, it was very regular, so we didn't have to change sails. Once you put up a sail, when the wind picks up afterwards, then you're in problems. Or when it drops afterwards, then you're in problems too.
But you had no problems?
No, not at all. Yeah, with my eyes, just the salt water and the sun was hurting a lot, but after all, it was a good race. Could have been longer though.
Did you take the lead from the start?
At the start, my brother was first, Marco, and he was just a little bit lower, but I passed him afterwards because he had to point much higher than I did. So that's where I took the lead over. And Ken was much higher. We were about in the same line. Ken, me, and Marco. And Ken, I don't know what Ken did. He stopped, but I'll find out when he comes on the beach.
Ken Winner thought he hadn't passed between the beach and the rocks as required, so he turned back from third position to do just that. His error of judgment cost him 50 places. Marianne de Jager and Lindy Dewhurst were the first two ladies home, 40 minutes behind the leader. So first then Onno Tellier, 58 minutes and 6 seconds. Second was David Perks in 1 hour, 2 minutes and 13 seconds, followed by Klaus Walter and Kort Larned. So Onno Tellier goes into the Gunston Surf Sailing International on top of the Super Sailor log, with Klaus Walter second and Bjorn Schrader third. The 6-day event carried a prize money of 20,000 rands. It was intended to sail 32 three-man heats in the first round, with one man going through to the next winners round, one to the losers round, and the third man eliminated. The second round would therefore consist of 16 heats, and so on down to the final. Dan Mangus spoke to Klaus Walter about his chances on the circuit.
Klaus, you came in third in the slalom and third in the long distance. What's your strongest discipline?
Well, I think both are my strongest disciplines. Even though I was very good in the World Cup in the course racing, but I think I'm still a bit better. I'm favoring course racing in slalom.
So it looks like you're second in the overall now for Super Sailor. How do you think your chances are at for here at Gunston and also in Durban?
Well, at Gunston, it's a wave riding contest. You always need a little bit of luck if you want to do well in a wave riding contest, but I'm definitely expecting to do very good in Durban in the course racing and slalom event, especially because it's expected to be light wind. Who knows, but maybe we have real strong wind there, opposite from here, but I'm a little bit having an advantage compared to the other international guys, because I'm lighter. I'm about 8 kilos lighter than Björn and Onno. So light wind should be all right for me.
Light winds are one thing, but this is ridiculous.
What's the report today?
Oh, it's less than nothing now, forget
Less than nothing.
Well, at Cape Point this morning, it's 25 knots, and we're hoping that it's going to push through here. And as long as that cloud pulls in over the mountain, we should get some wind this afternoon.
Another typical day at the beach, huh? No wind. At least I guess we're supposed to have a good report. We called up. It's supposed to be coming southeast. I don't know. What do the locals think? Is it going to happen today? Huh? No way, huh? Oh, man. It doesn't look like we're going to have enough time to get into the losers rounds, obviously, because it's grinding down to that. If the wind picks up today, we'll continue with the same heats, 8-minute heats, 2 minutes in between heats. But if it looks like we're getting not the wind we want, we have to start later. We might decrease the heats to like either 6-minute heats, 1-minute break, or 5-minute heats, 1-minute break, or 5-minute heats, no break. So we'll keep you tuned to that. We'll definitely post it, and we'll let you know down at the truck when you check in also. But if we start out the first rounds with less time, we finally get down to like the quarterfinals, the semis, or the finals, or something like that, and we have the wind and the time, we'll decrease the heat time again, so it'll be more interesting and you can get more waves.
Dan Mangus then spoke to Stefan Zotschar, World Cup representative.
Stefan, can you tell me a little bit about the World Cup?
Yeah, the World Cup is a circuit consisting of 5 or 6 races a year. It's organized by us, the World Sailboat Manufacturers Association. We are a club, members are board manufacturers and sail makers, and we do it to promote board sailing. And we are, of course, always curious to find new spots in the world, new places to hold events. South Africa might be an interesting country for the future, so I'm here to investigate conditions here, and I like it very much.
How have you found the sailors and the caliber of sailors and the people, the organizers down here?
Well, that's surprising for me, though board sailing is relatively young in South Africa. Organizational-wise, it's far more advanced than in a lot of other countries. So what the Board Sailing Association of South Africa is doing, I think, is the right way to promote the sport on a national level. They're doing a great job.
If everything checks out and BASA does all their homework, how soon do you think we could have a World Cup race down in South Africa?
Well, we have to see it in 2 levels or 2 steps. First step shall be in 1985 to link a national South African circuit to the World Cup, which means that the best, or maybe the 2 best, but it's more likely only the best South African sailor, the top guy on the national ranking list, is automatically qualified for World Cup events. And after that, it may be the second step for 1986 to bring one of the World Cups to South Africa.
Dan also had a word with Terry Weiner, chairman of BASA.
And what is BASA?
BASA is Board Sailing Association of South Africa, formed by the national controlling body of sailing in the country, South African Yacht Racing Association, to take care of board sailing, all aspects of board sailing, whether it be class association, fun board, or the full-on guys in the surf, just to look after, administer, control, look after the safety aspects, etc. of board sailing, so that we have one voice talking for all the board sailors in the country.
So we're here at Bloberg on a part of a summer sail circuit. Can you tell me about the circuit and what it involves and how BASA became involved in the circuit?
To start off with, we looked at how to expose or get as much exposure for the sport as possible. And we felt that the sea was the area where we could attract the sponsors. It's spectacular, it's exciting. So our first project as BASA was to put together a package in the sea, right? To attract the overseas guys, one contest and the prize money from one contest we felt wouldn't be enough. So we put together the 4 contests that we have here comprising the BASA Summersail circuit.
On the last day, the wind came up and the first round got underway. Toby Norman from Western Province found himself sailing against his wife Jenny and Eric Rudolph, also from the Western Province. Toby Norman won the heat from Eric Rudolph. Austrian Bernhard Brandstater, sailing number OE1, came up against South Africa's Bernhard Fischer, number 58, and won the heat with maneuvers like this duck jibe in the soup. Durban's Danny Sauvage went down to 15-year-old Capetonian Cameron Bruce in this heat. It was a tough one, with the judges scoring them very close. Bjorn Schrader throws in a little freestyle in his transition, which scores well for him. He won his heat against David Crate and Peter Jacobson. Springbok surfer Jonathan Parman has made the transition to board sailing and is coping admirably. Here he outmaneuvers Paul Close to go through to the next round. American Greg Aguirre prepares for his heat against Danny Schreiber and John Lazarus. Aguirre is the defending Gunston title holder. As he goes out into the surf, he gets a nice little jump and almost pulls it off when his nose dives under. Aguirre went on to win this heat. Erno Tellier, the overall leader, wins his heat against Clenjet van Beek and Hans Klein. Ken Winner, number 2 in the world, and Jonathan Fisher, up-and-coming Capetonian sailor, fight it out for a place in round 2. Jonathan Fisher won the heat on the judges' scorecard, but Ken Winner protested against Fisher for interference, and his protest was upheld. Still, it's a feather in the cap of Jonathan Fisher, who came oh so close to beating the number 2 in the world. Court Larned did enough to win his heat, and the judges are looking for jibes off the lip, jumps, wave riding, and many other radical maneuvers. At the end of the day, 32 sailors had advanced through to the next round. Unfortunately, that's where it ended, as the competition had run out of time. The 32 remaining competitors shared the first spot and equal prize money. The circuit bade farewell to Cape Town's Bloberg Strand, Betches Pier.
The 3 events in Cape Town have been completed. We're up here in Durban for the 4th event in the Summersail circuit, the White Horse Funboard Challenge. Competition started with 1 of 5 course races in light conditions. After starting, Marco Tillier from Holland was leading most of the race, and his brother Ono caught him on the course, and they battled. But as it came around to the finish, the wind dropped a bit, and David Perks from the UK ended up winning the first race. It turns out the wind is excellent today. It's about 15 knots here to about 10 o'clock, picking up all the time. And I think we're going to get some exciting racing in here for the rest of the course racing, and then continue on into the slalom.
4 course races were held, and competitors could discard their worst result, as only 3 counted for a share in the 12,500 Rand prize money. The races consisted of a 3-lap course, as shown, with a zigzag slalom section. The course was set in favourable winds, with the weather mark about 1 kilometre offshore and the nearest mark within the shark nets. International board sailing commentator Dan Mangus picks up the action.
As Ono Tillier leads the race, screaming across the water, we notice they're coming into the marks here with David Perks, winner of the first race, taking a nice jibe on this last part of the slalom mark, followed by Ono Tillier here, just after he passed him, and Klaus Walter, also from Germany. You notice the technique as they come around there, letting their sails flop around the front of their boards, getting in the groove and taking off again. These boards are specially designed for course racing. They're long with the water line available for them to go to weather. And then as they slide their mast track back, get in the back foot straps, go into the slalom part of the course. Very fine technique there by Ono. Here we're coming down on Greg Aguera, definitely in the groove, all the way back in the back straps, mast track back, dagger board up, and zipping along here at a very fine pace. Also winning one of the races was Bjorn Schrader from Germany. As we watch him here going to weather, notice his feet are further up on the board, dagger board down, mast track forward, and very in tune to try to get his board up to the weather mark. These boards are specially designed to go downwind and reaching, so it takes a little more effort to take it upwind. Here he's going into attack, changing directions as he leans the sail back, runs around the front of his mast, and then takes off again. Approaching the mark, a couple South African sailors, Paul Close and Clinton Johns, not looking as smooth as the internationals, as they have a little trouble. Back with our leader, Ono Tillier, and a beautiful shot of him zipping along and showing his classic World Cup style. Klaus Walter taking his time back on the tail, not letting the chop get in the way as he pumps his sail to increase the power, gets in the groove, and sails off towards the next mark. All these internationals had a great time down here, racing against each other and also getting excellent competition from the South African sailors. Notice how far back Ono is on his board as he approaches the finish line.
The overall results of the course racing: first, Ono Tillier; second, David Perks; and occupying third and fourth slots, Bjorn Schrader and Bernard Brandstater. With course racing completed, the competition moved on to the slalom discipline, consisting of 64 men and 8 women. The 8 competitors in the final heat were Richard Donny, Dave Labesteur, Danny Sauvage, Bernard Brandstater, Marco Tellier, Bjorn Schrader, Greg Aguirre and Erno Tellier. And the race got off to a fine start in 18 to 20 knot winds.
The slalom boards are a little different. As Greg Aguirre rounds a mark and takes off, these boards are shorter, double concave bottoms, and built just for speed. In the slalom course, there's no weather legs. All they do is take off the beach and reach straight down to an outside mark and a figure-8 course coming back to an inside mark and then repeating it 3 times before they hit the beach. Bernard Brandstater as he rounds the mark and takes off. Followed by local Durban, Danny Sauvage. And there's the speed burner, Erno Tellier, with quite a lead now in this final heat. You notice it's slightly choppy conditions, but he keeps his sail very in tune, board flat, and just pedal to the metal. As he zips by those other competitors, making them look like they're standing still, taking advantage of every puff of the wind. Nice shot of Bernard Brandstater. Boy, he makes that look easy. And there's our leader, Erno Tellier. Now fastest in slalom, also the fastest on the course in course racing. These guys are unbelievably fast. They take 1-to-1 with the wind. If the wind blows 25 knots, they're doing 25. They reach speeds up to 30 to 35 knots on the water. You have to remember, Erno is like #2 in course racing in the world, #10 in the overall rankings, and will do very, very well next year as he comes through the surf here, heading for the finish.
And as Erno Tellier heads for home, let's not forget the first South African ladies champion, Marianne de Jager.
Well, it's been a really good circuit, and the girls have been doing really well, and it's just so good. I've beaten them all, and I'm #1.
That's a good feeling, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Well,
I hope nobody takes it away from me.
Well, you've done a lot of practice, and I know your forte is really out on the waves. How do you feel that you're coming together with your course racing and slalom now?
Well, it seems to be really nice. We've seemed to have got our equipment all together now, and girls are really getting it together, and I think next year is going to be even more exciting.
Well, you know, board sailing is not very old in South Africa, and the guys have been doing a very good job at it, and now that the ladies are coming on, how do the ladies see board sailing moving in South Africa, and where do you think the future is for ladies board sailing down here?
Well, it's really picked up unbelievably. I mean, we started off at the beginning of the year, we must have had about 4 females into it. Now there are 18. And so next year, who knows, it'll probably be about 20, 30, maybe even 40, hopefully.
Well, I know a lot of the guys have lured the international sailors into coming down here, and now I think next year we're talking about having some international ladies coming down and competing with you gals down here. How do you feel about that, bringing from gals from all over the world?
That would be exactly what we need at this time in our lives, because the guys have had the internationals competing here, and that's brought them, really made them enthusiastic about the whole thing, and I think that's exactly what the females need as well now, just to get us going.
So how does it feel one more time to be the #1 lady sailboarder in South?
And our ice dancing for 1986 Skate America.